What's up guys, Marty here, and I am. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Nitecore NU25. This is my favorite little headlamp, and probably my piece of gear that gets used outside hiking more often than it does when I am hiking. So firstly, going over the specs. Body weighs 1 ounce. I don't have the original head strap, but instead I got this from Lightsmith, where they added this piece of shot cord with a toggle on it so I can adjust the tightness. MSRP is like 35, 40-ish bucks, depending on where you look. Sometimes you can find them on sale and get a better deal out of it. Comes in 3 different colors. I opted for black just because I wasn't really a fan of the white or the yellow. Max brightness is 360 lumens. The battery is 610 milliamp hours. Firstly, you got 2 buttons on the top here, one with a power symbol, one labeled R. Going to be pressing that power button just to cycle through the normal headlamp features. So first off, you got low, medium, high, and then off. And then if you want to get to turbo, turn it to low, double tap, and then you're in turbo. And then there's a weird 3-second window to where you can either change intensity levels or turn the headlamp off. To get into the next one, gonna hold the power button when the headlamp is off, and that gets you this white auxiliary light. It's diffused, very floody. I use this quite a bit. And then when you press R, this gets you into the red light mode. So you have low, high, and then SOS, and then it'll either cycle off or you wait that 3 seconds and it'll turn off again as well. Those are pretty much all the different settings for the headlamp. Gonna get into some pros and cons. So first pro is the weight. It's very, very light, and especially with all the different features that you get out of it, pretty tough to beat. You know, there's a bunch of other headlamps out there that are very lightweight, but they don't have anywhere near the lumen capacity. They don't have red light and all that stuff. So in terms of that, this takes the cake. This is IP66 rated, which means it's dust and waterproof. So to me, that's a very big pro. Another pro is, and this just kind of comes more into use, to me this is I consider this to be part of my safety kit. So I actually don't do all that much night hiking. Usually I'm up at dawn, and by the time it's dusk, camp's already all set up and I'm usually already fed and all that stuff. So I really don't do a whole lot of night hiking. I have done some, but I've used this more for, you know, putts around camp, read stuff and whatnot. When I am out at camp, I actually wear this as a necklace. So you're able to angle the headlamp away from the bracket, and you know, can change the angle. So I actually end up wearing this as like a necklace and just angle it down. So if I do need to hike, you know, wearing it on your forehead makes weird shadows and messes with your depth perception, so you're more likely to trip over your own feet. Wearing it down here kind of fixes that. And then it also makes it easier to read because you have everything right here, or any sort of chores. Obviously, if you need to, you just pop it on your forehead. But for the most part, I pretty much wear it right here, and then you can forget about it, and then you're good to go. Another pro for me is that the headlamp is rechargeable. On the bottom, you get a little rubber seal here, and plug your micro USB in. Charges up real quick, just because the battery's pretty small. And yeah, sometimes the seal is a little bit of a pain to open up. I found that if I just dig my nail into it and then just keep picking at the front of it to try to get it open, that'll work best. Of course, it doesn't want to do that for me now, but it is what it is. Another pro is, so I've had this headlamp for a couple years now. Not really a whole lot of issues. Sometimes the buttons on the top get a little finicky, but if I just keep pressing them or press them a little bit harder, it seems to fix them. There's only a couple cons that I could think of. So the first con is the battery life. I'll post a screenshot of all the run times and different intensities and beam distances. But really the con to me is battery life. The battery is just so small, and especially if you use those higher intensities, you're just going to burn through battery like there's no tomorrow. But there's nothing you can really do about that. The other con that I could think of is the beam distance. Granted, the other flashlights that I have are very powerful and very intense, so I'm more used to those. So having a in perspective dimmer headlamp, especially, and that doesn't have as high of a beam intensity and doesn't have as high of a beam distance, is noticeable to me, but might not be to you. Like I said, I use this outside of hiking more than I actually use it for hiking. In those scenarios, I actually do wear it as a traditional headlamp, but I use it whenever I'm working on something, whether it's here in the apartment, on my truck, need to fix something up, get under something in a dark area. I end up using this. I use this for cutting the dog's nails, actually. It turns into a bit of a wrestling match, so I end up laying on top of them, and I really want to make sure I don't cut as quick, so I use this to get a whole bunch of light in there and make sure I can see what I'm doing. Other thing I use this for most often is actually tying flies. So I have that on my forehead and have it all set up right here. Lets me focus and see what I'm doing in fine detail. And honestly, for grilling, I use this for grilling during the wintertime. It gets dark super early, so I use this to turn the bottle on, light the grill, flip whatever I'm cooking, and to plate it up. And honestly, I do those things more often than I do for night hiking, so I can't really say in terms of exactly for night hiking, but for around camp and doing stuff around the house, awesome little flashlight. Again, like 35, 40-ish bucks, so it's a little pricey, but to me it's worth it. You get a lot of features in a little tiny package that's pretty tough to beat. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.